build their defense and offensive line. Giants, they're going to give Daniel Jones one more year. Eagles are going to try out Jalen Hurts. Chargers don't need a quarterback. Vikings don't need a quarterback. Pats might need a quarterback. I mean, so maybe he can follow the Pats. Crazy enough, he might even fall further than that. Hold on, let's see. So let's say the Patriots don't draft, they don't draft a quarterback. Or no, they don't draft a quarterback. But I think they should in case Cam isn't it. Cardinals, they got Murray. Raiders got Derek Carr. Dolphins, again, they're not testing out quarterbacks. The football team. Is it possible he falls to the football team? Who only signed Fitzpatrick to a one-year deal. If they don't trade for Teddy Bridgewater, I can see them drafting Trey Lance. That he can fall to a legit playoff team, Trey Lance, and he could be lucky there. Like Rodgers and Mahomes, they dropped to a winning organization. You know, the quarterback just get lucky. I think Fields can do this too as well. But, you know, it's good for any quarterback to fall in the draft because falling in the draft is a blessing in disguise. It's a little humbling. It kind of ruins your confidence because you're like, am I really not that good? But honestly, it really builds. It's really going to work down the line for your. It's really going to work for you. Later in your... So, alright. Alright, so we're going to get some music going. I'm going to talk about, Justin Fields. He might be able to fall. What else do I got here? Lawrence, Fields. I'm going to talk about Clowney to the Browns. Who I think is under the most pressure next season. Talk about load management a bit. Yeah. Here we go. So, Trevor Lawrence, again, I'm talking about this. He said he didn't have a chip on his shoulder. It's good to have one because it pushes you normally. But some people are prodigies and some people have to prove themselves. Jordan and Brady had to prove themselves. LeBron and Trevor Lawrence don't have to prove themselves. They are already prodigies. People know they're going to be successful. And they just gotta be the man with a plan. So, do you want the man with a plan, or, the guy with the chip on his shoulder? I don't know. That's your choice. I'm not choosing for you. So, Justin Fields changed his stance at Pro Day. There's a theory. Because Matt Ryan did the same stance Fields did when he was with Ohio State until Shanahan got there. Once Shanahan got there, he switched his stance. So they think he might be doing this for Shanahan here, kind of show he's ready, he's willing to adjust. But think about this. Chicago might be able... Fields could drop. He really can. He can be another guy who drops, because think about this. We'd have to switch some things up, because, it would really have to go exactly right for Lance and Fields. It would have to be the Broncos trading with the Falcons, which I do think is going to happen eventually. And it's going to have to be the Niners taking Mac Jones. If the Niners take Mac Jones, then that gives the Broncos the green light to take Justin Fields. But what about this? Let's say the Broncos take Trey Lance instead. LA likes his athletes. That really falls down in the order. No one else... The Pats don't even really need a quarterback. It could happen. Think about this. What if the Bears trade up for Fields? That would be a good move for both Fields because he's on a playoff team or a playoff ready team. And when you're a general manager, you make big moves. When you're a general manager with his job on the line, you make big moves. And I think Ryan Pace could do that. If he makes a big move, that saves you a year. So if he's looking to save his job, go for Fields. If he can. I mean, he might even get drafted third. So we really don't know anything except for Wilson and Lawrence. That's what we know. Alright. So, Luka, I think a couple years ago, Trey Young, my bad, said that him and Luka's rivalry could be a lot like Magic and Birds. That's up in the air. It really is, because it's East versus West again, which I would love to see. But right now, it looks like it's Luka versus Zion. And Zion, think about this. Zion's a lot like Magic. He's kind of smiling, he's a good personality. People like to root for him. Luka kind of complains about calls, and everything. Bird was kind of a, whatever guy, kind of straight up. The problem is they might have trouble meeting in the finals, which is going to kind of diminish the comparison here. But, they're both completely different. They're both phenomenal early. Luka was an MVP candidate last year. And they're just. This is a good comparison. If the teams get their asses moving, really. That's what I think when they're. If Luka, I would love to see that. I would pay to see that. I would pay so much to see Luka and Zion, really. Just because that would be so fun to watch. Luka versus Zion. A prodigy versus a guy from Europe. Or a guy who was in the European League, right? Yeah. And he said, Luka said it was tougher to score in that league than the NBA. He tried warning us. So, alright. So, Clowney, I think it's a bigger deal than people are making of it. But, I don't think it's like a prime JJ Watt. What's a good comparison? I don't think it's like Randy Moss, a prime Randy Moss going to the Pats. But I like this. I think it's good. You're not expecting him to play, at an exceptional level like James Harden every day. Or every week, my bad. But look at their roster. I feel like only Baker could hold them back from winning. Their ceiling is making the AFC Championship. Like winning 2 playoff games is their ceiling. I think they win 1 playoff game, personally. I think they win a wild card game. But they could win. They could get into the AFC Championship. That's their ceiling. Because they're not a Super Bowl team yet, because Baker has 1 playoff win. He doesn't even have enough experience yet. And Stefanski has 1 year of his system so far. But he's the only one that can hold them back from winning 1 playoff game. Their floor is the first round exit, which I would be disappointed to see that. But I think that only Baker would be the one to hold them back. Great O-line, 2 great receivers, 1 great running back, 1 good running back, great defense. And they were a great defense before Clowney. I'm not saying he makes them a great defense, but, think about their roster right now. It's stacked. Here's who I think is under a lot of pressure. All right. You got Daniel Jones. He maybe has 1 last year. They got him Kenny Galladay. Got him Kyle Rudolph. they're going to get up some defensive weapons, and Joe Judge is a good coach, it looks like, at least. You know, he's got Saquon coming back. He's getting his weapons back. I'm not saying he has like a great offense, but he should not be as bad as he was last year with that offense now. And Joe Judge in year 2. So he's under a lot of pressure. He's got to prove himself. He has one more year left. Carson Wentz, he has to prove that it was Philly, not him. You know, and you know he has a lot. He has a top 5 O-line. Michael Pittman's a good receiver. Jonathan Taylor looks like something special. Their defense is great. He's got Frank Reich. He has no excuses if he does terrible. Kyler Murray's under some pressure. I mean, I wouldn't say he's under a lot. I mean, he has a good defense. Definitely a great defense. But then again, I think Cliff Kingsbury's under more pressure than he is. Kingsbury probably has one more year left, and if he doesn't do good enough, he's out. I think you can't finish 4th place. You got to finish 3rd place. I'd be cool with that. But if you finish 4th place, I got some questions. Even in a stacked division like that, I think they have a better roster than Seattle. They have a better roster than. Well, actually, we don't know what the Niners situation is, but I think they can finish 3rd in the division. Then you got Stafford. You know, he has no excuses. He has weapons now. He has a defense. He has an O-line. He has a good coach. So, if he doesn't do well this year, he is going to get slaughtered. You saw what happened with Bill Belichick. 1 year. He went 1 year. He had 8 opt-outs. He actually had some excuses. 8 opt-outs. And they still gave him hell. That was, like, brutal if you looked on the internet. So if you don't win, they're going to be like, wow, this guy is not a good quarterback. And then I think Baker's under a little pressure. At least, if they, kind of like Kyler Murray. Like, Kyler Murray should not finish last in the division, despite how stacked they are, and Baker should not be a first-round exit. My expectations is 1 playoff win, maybe 2. If you don't win 2, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But if he loses first round, he's under a bit of pressure there. Alright, so actually I'm almost done with this podcast, but this was long anyway. It's gonna be long, because I have more left than anything. So load, I want to talk for maybe a minute about load management, you know. I think load management is good for teams like the Lakers and Nets, bad for the league, because, you know, people want to see, like, LeBron and AD play, but for the teams, they're like, if we play them on an injury, if we play AD, who has a history of injuries, and LeBron, who's 36, 2 injuries in 3 years, they're going to get injured, and you won't get to see them in the playoffs. That's their perspective. So, I mean, I'm kind of in the middle on load management. I feel good for the teams. As a fan, I don't like it, because I don't like people taking days off, but honestly, I put myself in their shoes normally, because I know I'd probably have a tough time playing, especially this season. You know, because people in the 90s played like 82 games a season a lot, which I can tell why I can kind of tell, because a lot of the middle-aged guys get a little mad at people taking days off. But this season, I do understand, because it's a condensed schedule. They have to play like every other night almost. It's tough. It is tough to play every other night. So, good for teams, bad for the league. But they didn't really have any other choice but to go with a condensed schedule this season, because, you know, COVID